In this video, we will talk about ransomwares. What is a ransomware? What is a ransomware? And we will discuss some types of ransomware attacks. Ransomware is a type of a malware from cryptovirology that threatens to publish the victim's data or block access to it unless a ransom is paid. Ransom is in the form of money. Then ransom malware or ransomware is a type of a malware that prevents users from accessing the system or posts files and demands a ransom payment in order to regain access. For example, if Bob's PC is infected with a ransom, he will say, Bob, please pay me around $10,000 and then only I'll give permission to access your computer and remove all the virus. That is a ransomware attack. More modern ransomware families, collectively categorized as crypto ransomware, encrypt certain file types on infected systems and forces users to pay the ransom through certain online payment methods to get a decrypt key. So there are a number of vectors ransomware can take to access a computer. One of the most common delivery systems is phishing spam. Attachments that come to the victim in an email masquerading as a file they should trust. Once they are downloaded and opened, they can take over the victim's computer, especially if they have a built-in social engineering toolkit. Then there are several things that malware might do once it's taken over the victim's computer, but by far the most common action is to encrypt some of all of the user's files. If you want the technical details, I will provide you a link of the InfoSec Institute, which they have explained in very deep how a ransomware attack works. In some forms of malware, the attacker might claim to be the law enforcement agency shutting down the victim's computer due to presence of pornography or pirated software on it, and demanding the payment of a fine, perhaps to make victims less likely to report the attack to authorities. But most attacks don't bother with this pretense. There is also a variation called leakware or doxware. I will attach the links, in which the attacker threatens to publicize sensitive data on the victim's hard drives unless a ransom is paid. So who is a target for a ransomware? There are several different ways attackers choose the organizations they target with ransomware. Sometimes it's a matter of opportunity. For instance, attackers might target universities because they tend to have smaller security teams and a disparate user base that does a lot of file sharing, making it easier to penetrate their defense. On the other hand, some organizations are tempting targets because they seem more likely to pay a ransom quickly. For instance, government agencies or medical facilities often need immediate access to the files. Law firms and other organizations with sensitive data may be willing to pay to keep news of a compromise quiet, and these organizations may be uniquely sensitive to leakware attacks. But don't feel like you are safe if you don't fit these categories. As we noted, some ransomware spreads automatically and indiscriminately across the internet. So how to prevent a ransomware attack? There are a number of defensive steps that you can take to prevent ransomware infection. These steps are of course a good security practice in general,